Right, so I've just reread all of the Song of Ice and Fire, probably in about 8 days, but it has that effect. You just power through it because it's such a good. I don't know, like I've never been more excited to read a book. And as the show finished, and we're not, not going to get the show for 2 years. Might get the book before, maybe not. I just thought I'd touch on a few character differences between the book and the show. For I know it was a reminder for a lot of people who read the book and are watching the show are getting a bit confused, like I did. Some for the people who watch the show want to know what the book characters are like and maybe decide to read the book. And I guess for anyone really who understands how much depth there is in George R. R. Martin created. So yeah, go and watch it, and if that makes you want to read it, then great. If it doesn't, remember the book is very different to the show. So yeah, I'll just go on and touch on a few characters and the differences and how the book ended compared to so far. So everything in the show, I know George R. R. Martin's gave a little bit of it away. So he has told the writers some things, but we don't know if that's true. He said the Hodor thing is going to be very different, the Bran thing. The season now seems very Disney, very rushed, very black and white. A bit like how George R. R. Martin said he didn't ever want it to be. He wanted the whole book is about the conflict within the human heart. He said there is no black and white characters. There's no character that wakes up in the morning and says, "Hey, I'm evil. I want my forces of evil to dominate the world." No character says that. Like the Mountain, there's a reason why he is. He's clearly got mental problems, and that's makes it not black and white. It's not. It doesn't explain that Sauron might be I don't know, a bit schizophrenic in Lord of the Rings. It just says he's evil. So in the show, it's a bit harder to see things like that, But yeah, we don't know entirely if everything that's happens. The Ice Dragon and whatnot. But yeah, the Night's King is the first I want to touch on. In the book, in the book, there is a Night's King, or there was. There's a myth of the Night's King. He was the 13th commander of the Night's Watch, and he actually. The story goes that he brought up White Walker beyond the wall, which does make sense because you can't get beyond the wall, into his castle, and he essentially sacrificed himself to her and became a White Walker with her. He started sacrificing children, and loads of atrocities were committed, and it was written out of the history books. So if you look at the show, the Night's King is a natural character we've seen. Books, there's no appearance, nothing more than what I've just told you. In the show, I think they've just liked the name, and they've taken it and they've made an antagonist that's visible. And in the show, there's a lot more emphasis on the White Walkers, a lot more. It's like everything versus the White Walkers, black and white again. So I think that the fact that in the show they've actually made the Night's King into a character who has a personality enough for people to think that he could be Bran and whatnot, but there's not much real basis. He seems like he is just evil for no reason. It seems like the White Walkers are just evil. In the show, in the books, they're not even called the White Walkers, called the others, and they're beautiful. George R. R. Martin's described them as like a nymph, like an elf. Essentially, they have their own language, everything like that. So that they laugh. They laugh in the prologue of Game of Thrones. They actually have a language. So if the Children of the Forest made them, they made a race. They made a people with a mind and a consciousness, not just a killing machine, a biological weapon. So that's the big kind of thing that's different in the book. In the book, the White Walkers have more of a force. There's no autocracy. There's no emperor. They're a force that's coming. I think personally, there it represents climate change. You know, how everyone in the world's fighting and arguing, but the real thing is it's climate change, and that's what the White Walkers are. But I believe that maybe George Martin is making an analogy for the Earth, that the Earth isn't some idle, dead being, you know, some robotic kind of I don't know, just defensive machine. It's actually got like a consciousness, and that's what the White Walkers represent. You know, and I even have a theory that maybe when Jon's birth was the reason they came back. You know, the pact might have been that the last hero made, that ice and fire shall never be together, and Jon's birth created that. So that's one of my theories, you know. Or when Egon came 300 years ago, that's when they started. So I think in the books that they're a race that's similar to Targaryens, you know, and fire and ice must always be a balance, and it hasn't been. So that's why they're returning. Just a lot of elements from Celtic mythology, which I know George Martin studied. But yeah, that's just the cover, the difference between the Night King in the book and in the show, and that makes you see the others in a whole different light, which I think is important, you know. And in the next book, we're going to see a lot of the Lands of Always Winter. So I think it's very interesting to a lot of people who watch the show, the White Walkers, the fight scenes. But in the books, it's not many fight scenes. They're more eloquent. They're in your imagination. If you don't know what they could be, you know. So I think it's pretty, you know, it's pretty shoddy. And if the Night King does come into the books, or we do meet White Walkers, even maybe have a problem, you know, it might be insulting the way this shows kind of portrays character, you know. But you know, and you know, even the dragon bit didn't make sense. Is the dragon a White Walker, or is he a white? Why can't Bran walk into it? If Jon's dead, then surely the Night King can make him undead. There is, you know, that like it's Night King almost seems to be like a rival for Jon, which is elements of modern TV. There needs to be that character, so you know, it's enjoyable to watch him. He does look like pretty much a frozen Darth Maul, but the books have a lot more depth in the terms of how ambiguous George Martin is. He writes it in such a way that he wants people to figure it out in their own way, you know. So I understand the differences between the book and the show, but they could have incorporated this into the show, you know. But I think it's gone a bit Disney. It's rushing itself. You know, the actors want to move on, so yeah, always read the books. Always read the books. You know, like even I enjoy the characters more than the kind of magic. Like even Clash of Kings, like, and just looking at the map as well. What I kind of thought about the map was that up here, beyond the wall that Lands Always Winter could connect all the way up there down to the east. And we know the Long Night hit the east, so the only way is either that way, or since it was so long ago, this was maybe similar, it was joined or it froze over. So George Martin has denied that it's connected, but of course he would. Maybe he just doesn't want to focus on the east part, you know? The show's about Westeros. He might write another one about the east. Anyway, subscribe to my channel, watch my videos, and the next character I'll be focusing on and his difference in the books and the show will be the mighty Stannis Baratheon, which a lot of show readers, a lot of show readers are angry about how what they did to Stannis' character. A lot of show watchers don't like Stannis. A lot of just book readers, well, you know, ignorance is bliss. They still have their standards of madness. So, anyway, yeah, tune in, and next week we'll cover Stannis the Man.